Hello and welcome. It's 1 o'clock. It's the 10th day of June 2021. Just got back from doing blood work and getting an EKG for the upcoming surgery. Had a really bad phlebotomist. My arm feels really weird. So I stopped and got a milkshake because I can. Support me, Burger King. All right, so we have some minor news. Actually, two minor newses. Wizards of the Coast announced today they're taking direct control of the French, Italian, German, and Spanish versions of its D&D books, which were previously licensed by third parties. They are also looking for new printers outside of the US and China and pricing books more equally in non-US markets. Localized social media accounts are being launched, as well as localized pages on the D&D website. The first products will be the Essential Kit in September, along with 3 core rulebooks. The initial focus will be Europe and Latin America. What does this mean? Okay, so they used to have contracts with third-party printers, who would print the foreign language product and then make them available to the foreign language audience. So French D&D was produced by a company that mainly focused on French market and then released it to the French versions of whatever D&D is released to here in America, the French game stores and the French Target and the French Walmart, and I don't know. I've never been to France, but I assume it's pretty much the same shit, just with French names, way more classy. But now Wizards of the Coast / Dungeons & Dragons / Hasbro has decided to keep everything more in-house and less third parties. This is obviously another aspect of the restructuring that has begun this year with Dungeons & Dragons and Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro restructuring their productions and their company and their layout going forward, giving them, Hasbro, more control over D&D. And looking for cheaper ways to get the product out and stuff like that. Cost cutting, money saving, blah, blah, blah. The only reason why this is even remotely newsworthy, other than it shows some inkling of what Hasbro's plans are for the future, kind of what we expected with the restructuring, that they're going to try and keep more stuff in-house and more under their control. But since we have looked at a history of over the past year or two of companies getting sort of kicked to the curb by Wizards of the Coast, like Gale Force 9, and in return, the companies going after Wizards of the Coast because they violated contracts. So this is interesting because Wizards of the Coast is kind of doing the same thing here. They're cutting their ties with the companies they previously worked with. Now, did they do it the correct way, or did they make the same mistake that they have several times over the past 2 or 3 years, i.e. Gale Force 9, and not do it the correct way? Does that mean there might be a future lawsuit from these companies? Looking at China, sort of weird because that's not really, they don't really have a big market in the Orient, as we have seen. Japan, number one selling game is Call of Cthulhu, and I don't know if China is even a thing because of the way the communist government over there controls the press and stuff. Would Dungeons & Dragons be something you would see in China, or would it be too against the current party line of the whoever's in charge of the current Communist Party in China? Taking control of the European market, though, is huge because the European market is avid buyers of role-playing games. Where you live someplace where it's snowing 60% of the time of the year and you're stuck indoors, of course you're going to be doing miniature games and role-playing games. But all the European countries have their own games. You know, all that grim-dark European Warhammer stuff, that all comes out of over there. Germany and Russia and Czechoslovakia and Poland and places like that. And those games sell way more over there than they do D&D sells over there, just because it's a different mindset. And it appeals to, you know, that kind of whatever. I don't know. Who knows? I'm sure somebody smarter than me has done research why certain game sells better over there than it does over here. I don't know. So yeah, this is news, I guess. The only really thing interesting out of this is that if are we looking at future lawsuits, because knowing Wizards of the Coast track record, they probably didn't do this the right way. Milkshake. So bad for me, and yet so good. I'm your grumpy guide to all things newsworthy. If you appreciate this news and want to hear me continue to talk about news, comment down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. Help me hit 500 subs by August 4th. Support me through the links down below. I will talk to you soon. Have a great day. Until then, get off of my Chinese Dungeons & Dragons lawn.